What is BIOS and how does it work? Have you ever turned on your computer and wondered what happens before Windows shows up? The BIOS is a little program stored on the motherboard, a firmware that wakes up the PC. It's the first thing that runs when you press the button and gives basic instructions for the processor to talk to the rest of the hardware. Where it is and why it exists. Think of it as the conductor of an orchestra. It sits on a chip on the motherboard and has sheet music, instructions that guide the musicians, CPU, memory, drives, graphics card, to play in the right order. Without it, the processor wouldn't know where to look for the operating system. What happens when you turn on the PC? When powered on, the BIOS runs a quick check to see if memory, CPU, keyboard, and drives are okay. Then it looks for a system to load, HDD, SSD, USB, and hands over the baton to it. If something fails, it signals, beeps or messages, to help identify the problem. Post, CMOS, and firmware explained easily. Post is the initial test. CMOS is a small area that stores settings, like boot order, time, and enabled/disabled options. Firmware is the name of the embedded software. BIOS is a type of firmware. Imagine, firmware equals recipe, BIOS equals the cook who follows that recipe. BIOS versus UEFI, what's the difference? UEFI is the modern version of BIOS, more features, better interface, and support for larger drives and security resources. Many new PCs use UEFI, but the role of starting the system remains the same, just with more up-to-date tools. When to tweak the BIOS and risks. You can adjust the time, boot order, enable or disable ports, and in some cases perform overclocking. But changing things without understanding can prevent the PC from booting. Updating the firmware fixes issues, but if something goes wrong during the update, the system may stop powering on, so update only if truly necessary. How to access and update, carefully. The access key usually appears at startup, keys like Del, F2, Escape, depending on the manufacturer. To update, follow the instructions from your computer or motherboard manufacturer, prefer official updates and read the release notes. Back up before any major change. Quick summary and practical tips. The BIOS is the PC's first software. It tests hardware, points to where the system is, and hands over control. If you only use your PC to browse, you likely don't need to touch it. If you're curious, enter the setup, see what each item does, and ask before changing anything, and if something goes wrong, write down the old settings so you can revert.